Hello everybody and welcome to Foldspace Origami Studio. My name is James Peak and I will be your instructor for the next hour. Today we're going to be learning one of my all-time favorite Santa models, Seiji Nishikawa's Christmas Present. And I love this model for so many reasons, which we will get into here in a little bit. So if you are here, please say hi in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. I know the last time that I broadcasted, the chat wasn't really working for one of those platforms, I believe. I'm not sure why, but then eventually messages did start showing up. So I fear that that might be the case again today, but just keep trying and hopefully we'll hear from you here before too long. Now, before we get into today's model, I just have some announcements, some quick housekeeping I want to cover. Of course, the first thing I want to announce is the upcoming stream, our next stream here at Foldspace Studio. I will be teaching Christiane Betten's wonderful Toledo Twist Star, which is a pretty, I have to say, it's a high intermediate model. It is somewhat challenging at parts, but I do think it's worth the try. It has a really neat sort of octagonal twist base, hence the name Twist Star. So that's coming up this coming Thursday on December 21st, which is the winter solstice. I thought it would be fun to do a star on the winter solstice, which is the longest night of the year for us here in the Northern Hemisphere. Also, in case you missed it, I am going to host an online origami retreat in March. Save the date, more details to come soon. And I'm also excited to announce that I just set up a link tree because I've got like a lot of links coming at you. I mean, all the different live streams. And so here, I just want to show you real quick. This is a good place for you to go to join my mailing list. You can access my special holiday offer on private origami lessons, which I'm going to mention again here in a second. You can also hire me to teach for your organization. And I have also added a tip jar, just in case you want to maybe, throw me a few bones for these live streams that I do. I would greatly appreciate it. Of course, there's no obligation to do that, but I just wanted to make it possible for people to contribute if they like. But most importantly, I just want to point out that this is where you can go to access all of the current and most recent, well, I should say most recent, current, and upcoming live streams. Now, I won't keep all of the live streams here, but notice that I've got the link here for the Sonobe Unit Workshop, which we did earlier this month. I've got the link here for the Toledo Twist Star, which is next week, and of course the link for this broadcast here, the Christmas Present. So yeah, now I'm going to be using this link tree kind of from here on out, particularly on the social media platforms, on Instagram. So I already actually do have it linked on the Foldspace Instagram account. And this is a great way to kind of find out about all things Foldspace. And of course, I will be adding to it. And I'm pretty excited about this. So, oh, hey, what's up, everybody? The chat is working. KD Shield, hello from Alaska. How about that? Kathy Nab, hey, Kathy, so good to see you. Joanne, Laura, Steve, and Hisako, some of my old friends who frequent the Foldspace live streams. Thank you so much for being here. Now, just continuing on, I'm still running this offer on half off for private origami lessons here at Foldspace, and that can either be in person or virtual, and I'm offering this deal 50% off. If you go to the link tree, there's a link where you can watch a short video about everything that kind of is entailed with that. So yeah, but I've got this offer going on to the end of the month. I've had a handful of people come in and buy classes. I even had someone buy a block of 4 lessons for somebody else as a gift, and it's really cool. And we're going to do those classes virtually, and I'm really excited for that opportunity. So, all right, here we go. Now, oops. All right, so here we go. We're going to... Man. All right. Here is today's model, The Christmas Present by Seiji Nishikawa. I love this model for so many reasons. I mean, for one thing, it's so clever. I mean, look at these color changes. You've got Santa, he's got his sack. What's more is that you can even hide a gift inside the sack, hence the name Christmas present, right? So maybe maybe you want to give somebody a couple of googly eyes for Christmas. I know, I didn't have any like jewelry or anything to put in here, at least with me. So here we go, we'll put those in there, and then I'm gonna seal it up. It is a little bit harder to close it once you, there we go. All right, and there we have it. Also, another reason I love this model is that it stands up so easily. I love an origami model that can stand on its own. I think that's a true testament of an excellent design, okay? And just to top it off, it's just so stinking cute. I mean, look at it. It's wonderful. I just love this model. Oh, and the last thing too I'll mention is that it's relatively easy to fold, believe it or not. So now this model originally appeared in Tantedan magazine 64, which actually came out back in the year 2000. So this model has actually been around for a while, and I know that it has appeared in a number of other publications since then. But the place where I discovered this model was this really neat book that the designer, Seiji Nishikawa, published called Origami Gaku, okay? Now, this is not your ordinary origami book. It's entirely in Japanese, all right? And it's kind of just like a general interest type of collection where he features, here, I'm gonna turn this off if I can. Oh geez, I shouldn't be doing that. Okay, whatever. I've got, or it's got these features on different well-known origami artists, right? And then, oh look, Joseph. My friend Joseph, I got to see him a few months ago at the Peacock Convention in San Francisco. Tomoko Fuse was the special guest, or one of the special guests, along with Robert Lang, who we also passed by here a second ago. But there's some other just sort of like general interest type articles. I really wish that I could read Japanese because it seems like a very interesting publication. Now there's something I want to draw your attention to. On this page here, notice this picture here. So on this page, Seiji's kind of getting into some of the more technical applications of origami. And now there's this conference that happens every handful of years called OSMI. OSMI stands for Origami, Science, Math, and Education. And 6 OSMI took place in Tokyo back in 2014, and I had the privilege of attending this conference. And actually, here is a picture from that conference. And I was flipping through this book the other day, and I was like, oh, wait, I recognize this auditorium. Well, get this. So, if you look closely here, it's going to be kind of hard to see. And see if my camera will focus. Ta-da! Yeah, okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's going to be hard to see, but if you look right there, there's a guy in a yellow shirt with curly hair. Guess what? That's yours truly. I'm actually in this book. And I didn't realize that for the longest time. And I'm like looking at this, and I'm like, hey, I was there. And I was like, wait a minute. There I am, lo and behold. And to prove I was there, so notice that there's this really neat aluminum can design that was based on design by Japanese astrophysicist Kiro, I'm blanking on his name, Kiro Miura, okay? And to prove I was there, I actually brought back one of those cans as a souvenir. And it has this kind of neat pattern, which I'm sure makes it stronger, while also making it collapse a little bit easier. So this whole corrugation style of paper folding is what got me into origami originally almost 20 years ago. So pretty neat to see that here in this book. And here in the back of the book are the models. There are only, I think, 7 models. There's our Christmas present, and then there's a few others. But overall, just a really neat book, very beautiful, a lot of really great photos. And I might be getting my phone out and my Google Translate app to try and read some of the contents. Okay, so I think we are ready to jump in here. Let's see here. I'm going to use a piece of roughly 7-inch kami here, which is technically 17.6 centimeters. And of course, I'm going to use paper that has a white side and a red side. Okay. And I'm going to begin with the white side facing up. And let's go. Hi, Edwina. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to start by taking the bottom corner. I'm going to match it up to the top corner. Fold the square in half diagonally. And next I'm going to rotate the paper, open it up, so that I can now take this bottom corner and match it up to this top corner. So I'm folding the other diagonal of the square. Match it up as best as you can, hold before you fold, and then slide down the middle to get that crease started, and then slide all the way out to one side, back to the middle, and all the way out to the other. And I'm going to open the paper up, and now I'm going to flip it over to the red side here. And notice we have an intersection in the middle of the paper with these two mountain creases. Now we're going to take the bottom point and bring it up to meet that intersection. And you want the corner to come right up to where those creases cross. And just like before, hold before you fold, slide down the middle, and then sharpen your crease. Next, let's rotate the paper so it looks like a faceted diamond or a heart. And we're going to take this corner now, opposite from the one we did before. We're going to fold it up to meet at the same point. And you don't want those corners to overlap. You just want the points to come right up next to each other. All right. Okay. Now I will rotate the model like so, and we're going to do this one more time. We're going to take one more corner here, and I'm going to take this one at the bottom, and I'm going to fold it up so that it sits right in between those two flaps. And it's okay if there's a little bit of a gap here. In fact, it's probably preferred if you have just the slightest little hairline gap. There we go. Okay, cool. And now we're going to make some rabbit ears. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the paper so that it's sitting on its side, like so, or on this side. And we're going to create a rabbit ear with each of these triangles. Okay? And if you're not familiar with what that means, I'm about to tell you. So I will zoom in just a little bit here so you can get a little bit of a better view. Okay, great. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to start out by taking this edge of this flap. And we're going to bring it up to meet this creased edge. But when we make our fold, note that we do not need to fold beyond this crease that lies in the middle of this white triangle. So what that would look like is I'll take this edge up like so, and you see that triangle that we form, and we're making an angle bisector with this 45-degree angle right here. So what I like to do is I like to kind of ease that edge into place, and I wait until that edge looks aligned all the way across, even over here. And once I've got that alignment, I will kind of gently run my finger across the corner as it kind of falls into place. And then remember, I don't need to crease beyond the middle point here. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to kind of work my way down until I meet that vertical line. And then we can unfold that flap, and you see now we've got an angle bisector that goes from this corner to the middle. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this edge and do the same thing. I'm going to create an angle bisector on this 45-degree angle. So I'm going to use the same technique. I'm going to kind of bring that edge up, ease it into place, gently run my finger along that corner as I establish that crease, and then I'm only going to fold to that center line. Now if you forget and you mistakenly go past that line, no big deal. It really doesn't matter. So now we can unfold, and now we can collapse the rabbit ear. And what that means is we're going to engage those two creases that we just made at the same time. And I love rabbit ears because they really do look like rabbit ears. If you were to look at it from the side, it's like a little rabbit ear. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, so we've got this point sticking up like this. Now notice how I've got the paper oriented now, where I've got this corner pointing down. I did that because I want this flap to also point down. So this is going to point in the same direction as this corner. Or if it was how we were looking at it before, we flatten it and it's going this way. Now let's repeat that on the other side, this side. So I'm going to rotate the model because usually when I fold, I prefer to fold up and away from myself. I feel like I have more control over the paper. So I'm going to take this edge here, and I'm going to bring it to that creased edge, line it up as best I can, and then gently start that crease in the corner, just kind of ease into it. You don't need to commit to it all at once. And then fold just to that crease in the middle. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. Only folding to the middle. And there are our two angle bisectors here and here. And now we can engage both of those angle bisectors at the same time. Okay, and that creates the rabbit ear. And so here's that point. We want the tip of that rabbit ear to also fall in the same direction, pointing this way. Okay. All right. All right, so now we are going to make the color change that creates the mittens of our Santa Claus. So to do that, we are going to unfold these two rabbit ears momentarily, and I'm going to draw your attention to this creased edge right here. Okay? And let me see here. Okay, yeah. So I want you to imagine finding the midpoint of this creased edge. Okay, so that would lie right about here. In fact, there's a little crease line that comes down here, and where that meets this edge also shows you where the midpoint is. Now, this next step does not have to be exact. This is what we might call a rat fold. But we do have a pretty clear reference. By the way, I should have said rat stands for right about there. And that's a term that some of us origami teachers like to use. So imagine the midpoint of this creased edge. And what we're going to do, we're going to bring this tip in to meet that midpoint. And we're going to make a little white triangle. So bring that in, make sure the corner stays on the line. That's really what's most important, is that we just keep that corner on that crease. And aim for somewhere that's just about above the end of this little crease segment down here. Okay. So once we've done that, we can actually go ahead and kind of pinch this back together and return our rabbit ear pointing down like this. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Unfold the flap and kind of aim for that center point, which here is right about there. Whoop. And then we bring that over. Doesn't have to be exact. And then we can pinch that mountain crease again and kind of just push this back in like so. Now what's kind of interesting here is that what we're looking at are like the two halves of the Santa, but they're in reverse position, okay? And that's because eventually we're going to take these two edges on the other side and bring them together, okay? So in a sense, this is actually the left side of the Santa when you're looking straight at it, and this is the right side, okay? But before we do that, we're going to unfold this flap, and we're going to actually take these two flaps on the side, and we will also unfold those. So we get this kind of elongated shape here. And I'll draw your attention, whoopsie-daisy, to this intersection right here. What we're going to do is take the bottom corner and bring it up to meet that intersection. And note that when you do that, you're also folding through some extra layers here and here. So just be mindful of those. I'm going to bring that up, bring the corner to that intersection. And I'm going to be careful when I'm creasing here next to the edge of these two flaps here. I don't know why the Facebook comments are not showing up now on my end. They were a moment ago. Okay. Now, I'm going to take these sides with the rabbit ears, these side flaps, and I'm going to actually close them back over top what I just folded. And now I'm going to take the whole model and flip it over to the other side. And we end up with this house shape. And now is where we're going to bring those two sides together to meet in the middle. And one way you can think of this, if you are, well, regardless of whether or not you're familiar with origami lingo and terminology, we're going to create what's thought of as a cupboard fold. So to do that, I'm going to tip this house shape on its side, and I'm going to take this edge and bring it up to meet this central crease, like so. And the corner, this corner will also line up with this intersection here. And you just want to be very gentle with sharpening this crease here. And that's 1/2. And we'll do the same here, but I'm going to rotate. So now I can take this side of the house, bring it up to the middle, And by joining those two edges, we are now starting to get Santa's body. All right, now, next, I will draw your attention to where the white meets the edge of these two sides, okay? And for the next step, we're going to take this top flap and we're going to fold down. But I want to point out there is a triangle flap back here that we're going to leave alone for the time being. So when we're folding this edge down, or this flap down, see how that's going to stay sticking up. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to make a valley crease that connects where the color changes on those two edges. So I'm going to kind of, you can focus on one at a time. You want to try to not fold through that white corner, just right next to it. There you go. So we fold there. And now we're going to take this flap that's still sticking up, and now we will just fold that over top what we just did. So in a way, I mean, we could have done that all at once, but it's a little bit cleaner if you do them separately, one at a time. So we fold that corner down, but then we unfold it, and looky here, there's a pocket. Now this is actually the same pocket that could eventually be used to put a small gift in. So that's where this forms. And what we're going to do now, we're actually going to take that corner that we just folded, and we're going to hide it inside the pocket. See ya. All right. So that's in there. And we're going to keep looking at this side. And next we're going to put two valley creases in that will connect this corner with this corner, and then this corner with this corner. So to do that, we take this flap, and we're going to bring this side edge up to meet this horizontal edge. So we're going to make an angle bisector. We'll bring that up like so. And I'm going to be careful as I sharpen this crease because I've got a bunch of paper underneath it that I don't want to get caught up when I'm creasing. So I fold that to one side, and then I unfold. And now I'll take this side edge and bring it up to the horizontal crease at the top. And then we unfold that, and now we've got some pre-creases. If you're familiar with origami terminology, this collapse is going to be kind of like a water bomb collapse. For everyone else, what that means is we're going to kind of push these sides in, and we've got all of these existing creases that will now work together to collapse this flap into a white diamond, or square, or rhombus. We could go on and on. All right. So now we're going to start working on Santa's head and his hat. And we're now going to make the color change that creates the little pom-pom at the top of Santa's hat. So to do that, I'm going to flip the paper over, and we're going to use the exact same type of reference as we did for the mittens. If you imagine this crease segment, and then imagine the halfway point right about there, doesn't have to be exact, but we take the tip and we fold this to meet that halfway point. And now I can turn it over, and this next step is the one step of the model that requires a little bit of guesswork, or eyeballing, as you might say. I want you to imagine, so just pretend for a second, don't unfold your paper, but think about this angle, this right angle here at the top of the paper, okay? Now, even though we folded this tip back, I want you to still imagine that angle exists. Oh, look, here, I could just use the, how about that? I can use the cutting mat. Okay, cool. So we're going to take this angle up here, and we're going to trisect it, or in other words, divide it into thirds. And so what we want to do is take one edge. I'm going to take this edge here first, this left edge. And I'm going to bring this over so that we're making a crease that is roughly dividing this right angle into thirds. Now, there's actually a handy way to make this alignment. And I will add that it does not have to be perfectly lined up, but we do want to try to get it as close as we can. Okay. So as I'm bringing this edge over, imagine these two edges, like these red edges that are formed. Imagine that as like a little wedge, okay? And what you can do, if you imagine that wedge almost as like an isosceles triangle, where the two sides are of equal length, they both meet up here at the top. Those two, like the two sides of that triangle, are basically going to look symmetrical with each other. Now, I don't mean up here, but again, if you imagine like these two edges going up to this vertex at the top, and just imagine that center line running right through. I mean, basically, the center line of the model should be bisecting the new angle that you've created with these two edges, like if they were to meet all the way up here. So again, we're roughly trisecting that top corner, even though we can't see the corner. And now we can just take this edge and fold it over on top using this edge kind of as our guide, folding it over as far as it wants to go, comfortably. And you'll notice on mine does not reach all the way. That's okay. It may or may not reach, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so there's his face, there's his hat. In fact, you know what? I'm going to adjust this a little bit, because you're always allowed to adjust your model too, if you'd like. I'm going to pull this back just a little bit. I want this to fold down a little bit farther. There we go. It's kind of like when you're folding a letter into thirds to fit into a letter size envelope. You have to kind of eyeball it, try to get it even. Although it's a little different with the letter, I guess. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit more even. And now notice that we've got this edge here. Okay, and we have an angle right here. We're going to bisect that angle by bringing this edge over to this edge. So we're going to bring the tip of the hat down into the side, lining up with that existing edge here. And Santa himself is mostly done. We just now need to work on the sack of toys. All right, so we've got this whole square on the back that we will now turn into Santa's sack. And first thing we're going to do, we're going to round off these corners a little bit here and here. And we're going to do that with a couple of small inside reverse folds. So if I take my finger and kind of go inside the model here. You see how I'm just putting the tip of my finger inside that corner. I'm using it to kind of spread the layers out. Then I'm going to use my thumb to indent that corner. I'm going to kind of push it in. You see I get this triangle shape? and I'm going to reverse that little mountain crease so it tucks inside, and I close it up, and that kind of rounds this corner, and we'll do the same thing on this side. Doesn't have to be exact. We're just kind of getting inside underneath that layer, using our thumb to push it in, tuck it in, squeeze it, and there we go. How's everybody doing? We're cruising here. We're almost done. This will be the shortest live stream I've done this year. All right, so now, next what we're going to do, we're going to flip it over to the back. And notice we have a crease line running up the middle here. And we're going to make an angle bisector with this 90-degree angle at the top by bringing the top edge down to the vertical crease. And there's a lot of layers here. It's kind of thick, so we just have to fold through a bunch of layers, bring that down like so, and then we'll give it a good pinch. Okay. Now what we're going to do is actually unfold this. Well, before you unfold it, I meant to say that this is a pre-crease. So we do want to make sure that we are creasing firmly, because we're going to unfold. And this is where, now if you wanted to hide something in Santa's sack, this is the point at which you would want to do that. However, I would recommend finishing folding the model and then kind of working in reverse to unfold it up to this point, and then put the thing in and then refold it. You're going to get a better result if you're just folding, I think, without anything inside of it. Right? So we're going to use this vertical crease as a hinge, and we're going to make a squash fold. So if we kind of pull this layer back, but we want to kind of get behind Santa here. There's a little pocket. And so I'm going to kind of turn the page, and as I do, I can kind of open this up and spread it out, and then I'm going to squash, and we've got this nice color change that works all the way down. I mean, it should line up. Give it a good squeeze. Okay. And then we can take this this part of the sack, and just kind of flip it over, kind of like we're returning that page of the book now that we've squashed that other part. Okay. Now we can flip the model back over, and we're almost done. Now we're going to take this corner and fold it over, so this is what it looks like. This is where he's kind of dragging the bag of toys. So I'm going to take this corner and just fold down, and I'm going to connect the crease with this corner here. But this does not have to be at a right angle like we did before. We're just going to kind of set it kind of like just over his shoulder, like right about there. So bring that down like so. And finally, we take this corner of his hand and just kind of bring it up and make it overlap with that corner a little bit. So now it looks like he's dragging that big sack of toys. And there you have it. The Christmas Present by Seiji Nishikawa. Thank you so much to Seiji Nishikawa for granting me permission to teach you this model and share it with you. Okay, how did everybody do? Again, that was definitely like the shortest live stream I've done since I started live streaming again this year, which is nice. It's nice to have kind of a shorter, more condensed, quicker model. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, just going to make these announcements one more time. Coming up next week, the Toledo Twist Star on December 21st, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, designed by Christian Bettens. And save the date for the origami retreat that I'm hosting on March 15th through the 17th. And I'd love it if you went and checked out my, sorry, I'm trying to get my windows in order here. If you went and checked out my link tree, I just set that up this morning. I'm pretty excited about it. I've been meaning to do this for a while because I've got so many links coming at you, so many live streams, so many events, so many things I want to invite you to. So this is a really great place to do that. And finally, if you want to pick up a gift certificate or just buy some lessons for yourself, now's a really good time to do that. And if you'd like to purchase one, just email me at james@foldspacestudio.com. So that'll do it for today's stream. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and hopefully I'll see you all back here on the winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere on the 21st, Thursday evening, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, happy holiday folding, y'all, and we'll see you next time.